Done 56 of these.
Ready, Louie?
1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Let's talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it.
Woo! Yes, sir.
Let's go.
You're not going anywhere,
Came back. Do not flip me.
Louie. Not again.
Not today.
You know what I want for Christmas?
What?
A handsome man.
Oh man,
Wow.
welcome back.
What episode,
yours,
Tom?
baby.
What is this?
We're on episode
Appreciate that. Likewise.
56, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow, 56.
Lawrence Taylor.
LT. That's
RLT.
LT.
Yeah.
RLT week.
Yeah,
I don't know
LT.
Lawrence Taylor so much, but LT.
You stop it.
Yeah, stop.
It was the first
He's the
LT.
fake LT. Oh no, he's the real LT. Yeah. His LT's fake.
Yeah. You got the sequel LT.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Sequel.
true.
Hey,
It's
sometimes
true.
the sequel's better.
Not in
Said
that
no one.
instance.
This is gonna be a good one.
I'm excited.
Yeah, this is something that's near and dear to my heart specifically, because I went through a lot of trials and tribulations starting this company up. It's near and dear to your guys' heart because it's gonna be, for one, stories you're gonna tell for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
For two, you guys experienced this with me. For three, the risk reward that you guys took is also gonna pay tenfold for you and your families one day.
Yeah.
And I might as well break down what the topic is gonna be really quick while I went into all that. And it's gonna be Lex Talk About Being a Startup.
Oh,
Yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
Creative.
I'm
Be good.
excited.
I'm pumped.
But
But
without further ado,
What are we doing?
my name is Thomas McCauley. Your head of business development. To my left, I have.
Frank Grizzly Lawando, the COO.
Frankie D, CEO.
Appio Fragoletti, Director of Banking Relations. And Louie, our Chief Happiness Officer.
And now, introducing the number one startup company in the world, Lexington! Yes, sir.
The world goes
go,
wide.
I go, baby!
I see them on LinkedIn.
Got it, red shirts, the
All wearing
army.
those red shirts.
See you,
They're always
man.
messaging me.
Taking over the industry.
Stop messaging me.
And the first
love
thing
it.
that any startup company needs is good branding.
This is very true.
That's true. But guys, yeah, well, you know, a lot of people who watch this, obviously, they're first-time entrepreneurs, people who are inside of that startup phase. In my opinion, like the exact definition of a startup is like anyone between 1 and 3 years old. I think that people past that can be startups if they're not working and growing and scaling their business constantly. But for somebody who wants to grow like Lexington, like us, that 1 to 3 year mark, we're about to hit 3 years, so we're slowly getting out of that. We hit 8 figures this year.
sir.
We hit over 50 employees, 10,000 square foot office. So I'd say we're getting out of the startup phase. We're not fighting for our life every single day, you know. So things are a little better, you know. Like, you know, as crazy as I am now, I've been crazier in the past, you know. Fair enough. So you got to turn up the crazy. You know? How else are we gonna get to 9 figures, right?
Exactly.
Yeah,
It
I'll
only
take
helps.
that.
That's true.
take
But
some
yeah,
crazy.
I mean, guys, like, you know, being a 9-figure company, like I just said, I mean, you got to be crazy. I mean, being a startup, you got to be crazy. You got to believe that you could achieve the impossible, which is owning, operating, and running a successful business, because most obviously fail. So it's not something that's easy, and every single day you're really just fighting to stay alive. You know, so it's something that's very hard. But if you grind, you work the hours, you learn, absorb information, it's something that's easily attainable.
Grab the business by the balls.
It's
Right out there.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the greatest thing about, especially working for a startup company, I never started my own company, but previously I'd worked at, you know, a super corporate franchised restaurant with just no aim or vision or soul or anything. And then coming to a company where, you know, the second you walk in, there's nothing but raw passion and love for what we're doing, and a massive vision that we all believed in. Frankie, we believed in the company, we believed in what it was that we were doing, and we all hunkered down, and we just kept pushing and fighting through. And it's an experience like no other to finally, you'll be coming out on the other end and looking back and seeing everything that we actually did go through, and seeing the cause and effect of hard work.
yeah.
I like that raw passion comment, because that's like probably the most important things for a startup, especially for something like this. Coming into work and seeing and being and having that raw passion is what's going to that's the fuel, that's the midnight oil that's going to be burning for those first 6 months to a year for sure. And we definitely have it. We have had it and still have
That's
it.
why we're at where we're at.
So we're getting out of that startup phase.
That's true.
Oh, yes, sir. One thing too about, like, you know, the
the raw passion in the beginning and the startup phase, like we're talking about, like, oh, you guys coming on board is, like, you got to think about, like, your employee base too, like, as you're, slowly growing in the startup phase, like, yeah, you start as the one-man army, you hire a couple employees. I think one thing that's, like, really important about the employees, and I'm sure you could back me up on this, is making sure you hire employees that want to share the vision with you, that see what you're doing, that believe in what you're doing. Don't just hire them because, they might have been in the industry, because, they know a little something or two, but because they look you in the eyes and they say, I know what you're doing and I believe in that. Yeah. And, with that comes, don't be afraid to cut off the slack, like if you're hiring people and they don't believe in you, they're just coming in to, do their corporate job, like that's not what you need at the end of the day, not in the startup phase.
Not in the startup phase.
No, you need passion, desire, fire.
It's true. One person can infect the whole culture. One person can infect 10, 20, 30 people and kill your whole entire culture. And that's why we don't even hire outside management here. I don't even believe in that shit. Like, imagine, like, I hired someone to be your boss. Like, how pissed would you be? Like, some random Joe Schmo, some schmuck. You know what I mean? Like, yo, he's the boss to you now. Like, no. You know what I mean? Like, I started with this company from ground up. I know everything about it. I worked in every single department. I've worked the hours. I've worked, bro. I've done what I had to do. And that's why, like, I hired all you guys to be managers and to run your departments, because it's a respect thing, and the fact that, like, you guys helped me grow this company. Although you might not be skilled as someone who went to Deloitte or whatever, obviously, and you are. That's a joke. It's just the fact that you guys grew with the company. So that also goes to show for other up-and-coming people that, hey, like, Tom started the company, he grew with the company, he worked very hard, and he was able to become a manager and climbed his way up the corporate ladder of Lexington. So I could do that too, and it gives people hope, and it gives them, a shot that most don't.
100%. And I definitely personally a big advocate for that, because fresh out of college, I've always worked at startups, whether it was like the insurance agencies, something for you, it was always like a startup. And like, I love the energy, because like, I love the fact that, like, as long as we do good, like, we can all grow, and, like, I'm there with you, or, like, just the fire, again, the fire, the power, the fashion, it's just, it's fun to be a part of, a startup company. Everyone's crazy and everyone's just like looking to do it. And like, I love that energy. I want that energy,
One thing I do love too is how we always compare it to sports. Like whenever we do our morning meeting, we run out, it feels like the freaking Super Bowl. Like, that's what it was, especially in the beginning. It was just a small team of people who had a goal, and we're all just pushing towards it. And now we have a little Lex army pushing to the moon.
I mean, back in the old office, we had so much raw passion that we had to break walls, punch walls, break desks, smash shit with hammers, break chairs. That's a lot. That's raw passion right there, driving us forward, and it sets the tone for your future company culture forever. Yeah. For Lexington's company culture, it cannot be broken at this point. It's true. Honestly, if you hired 50 bad eggs tomorrow, we just have a civil war and beat the crap out of them.
We got 50.
What happened? Like, it could
You're
not
gonna join us or not?
You couldn't destroy this culture. You will assimilate. Like, you will.
It's true.
And that's the thing too. If you have managers who love the company, they're gonna breed new managers that love the company, and it's just gonna be a continuous cycle of the vision and loving the company and making sure that it prospers in any way humanly possible.
Yeah, and that's why you promote your believers. You don't promote outside random counsel that has a 6-year degree and is $200,000 in debt. That's why you don't do that. Yeah,
this all tags into like the other good thing, like being the startup, is making sure that your culture is built properly. From the beginning, we just all talked about it, but like that's like your starting point. Like, don't build your culture 2 years in, because like you got all those people from day 1 to year 2, and like they're not ready to re-advocate for a new thing. They're stuck in their ways. Trying to teach our guys now how to use a new piece of software is a whole freaking ordeal. Imagine trying to reinstill culture.
It's impossible.
Yeah, make sure that like you start your company, you get that first guy on board, like that's your, like, you start the culture right there. You have a good week, hey buddy, let's go get a drink. Like, just make sure you're there, like you get that culture going from the ground up, and it's only going to reward you moving forward.
I think that's a bad way to start off.
With a drink?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
It also comes down to your first employee too. Your first employee, you want to be just like you. They want that. You want them to be a mini me, someone who believes in everything that you believe in. They believe in the company. They would die for the company. They would bleed for the company. And then that's then gonna fall down to then the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th, the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th hire. Everybody from employee 1 to employee 52 at this company, like, they're just Lexinites. We're Lexinites. We believe in what we're doing. There's a lot of passion, everything, and it's because that the first few employees that I hired, like, truly bought into the vision of this company. So, and obviously it's important for the founder to be a visionary, to be the leader, because if you're not a visionary, you're not a leader, then no one's going to follow you, obviously. You have to have a big vision. Obviously you can never give up. There's a lot of sleepless nights that go involved with this. If you're not working at least 80 hours a week, you're probably going to fail. Keep in mind, there's a whole lot of market share, and it's really just on you if you're able to eat at it and eat at it, eat at it and eat at it. And that's constantly just what I'm thinking of. What could we do? What marketing strategy can we implement? What lead source could we get where we could just start cutting at this market share, man, and just making sure Lexington gets 5, 10, 15, 25% of the business financing industry. So it's always all stuff that you got to think of, and it all really just comes down to hard work and how much you want to put in. You don't have to be the most skilled guy in the world. You don't even have to be the most personable guy in the world. You don't have to be the smartest, the biggest, the loudest, the strongest, whatever the case may be. You just have to have pure grit. You got to really just buckle down and work harder than anybody else, and you could achieve greatness inside of your startup.
Absolutely. I love what you said about maybe like 2 podcasts ago about finding your product that works and perfecting that before you branch out into anything else.
Yeah, a lot of people try to generalize before they specialize and try to offer all these different product offerings instead of just sticking to one thing and getting really good at that one thing. Because if you're mediocre at a lot of different things, like a diner, right? Like who's chomping at the bit to go to a diner? Yeah. Like not a lot. We're never like, hey, let's go to the diner.
Not at normal
We're
hours.
going to where we're feeling. Like we want a taco spot, we're gonna go to the place with the best tacos. We want a good pizza slice, we're gonna go to the place with the best pizza. So yeah, definitely you gotta niche down at first. You can't offer too many product offerings. You get really good at it. You get really good at selling it. You become the most knowledgeable person on that product. You market it on one channel, and then you just start expanding and expanding and expanding and expanding from there.
As what you just said too, like, becoming like the professional, like that's the one thing you really got to focus on, like when you are the startup phase. Like you, most importantly, out of everyone, you have to put in the time to learn and be willing to learn. You can't start up a company and not be willing to learn anything about it. Like be humble, be teachable, and like be ready to ask a question or two. Like it's really important in the beginning. You think like if you go into a business that you're starting up, and like let's say it's something carpentry, like you've been building stuff with your dad growing up, and you're like, oh, I could do this, like, yeah, but can you do all the other stuff? Like, congratulations, you can hammer the nail in the wood, but can you do anything else? No? Okay, cool. So humble yourself, ask your dad the question, ask whoever the question, and be teachable, don't be stubborn when you start up your business. Be humble and be open to learn.
Yeah, I think that's huge. And I love the way that you decided to go about starting this business up, and it's something that my father always told to me, because I always was an entrepreneur at heart, is work somewhere before you actually start the business. You chose to work at another firm for a short period of time.
Let's not give the guy credit. I worked there for 2 weeks.
Short period of time. Got a little bit of sight. You're all right. This is what I want to do at least.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do at least. Similar to how you almost bought the pizza place. You're working at the pizza place for X amount of time. You already did that for previous X amount of younger years.
Because that's what I knew.
And I think that's so important because it tells you what you need to do. What supplies do I need? What licensing do I need to get started so I can hit the ground running?
Yeah.
Like when I started up the ice cream business 12 years ago, 11 years, whatever it was. When I started up the ice cream business, I had no clue what the hell I was doing. I had no clue what licensing I needed to get. That was one of my biggest hurdles, was finding out what licensing I even needed if I can legally sell this. Can I even sell ice cream on the water? Ended up figuring it out. There was no role models, nowhere I can start working at to get that started. And then, even funny enough, circling back to the choosing your one product and getting good with it. Like at first, I only sold ice cream. And I built up a great clientele. People know me as the freaking mayor around town around here. And then eventually I started doing snacks and food and dinners and deliveries and not alcohol and not Jell-O shots and everything along those lines. But after establishing clientele for X amount of years, another thing that you mentioned before as well is, or I don't know, it was one of you guys mentioned it before, is you can be your startup company for like that 1, 2, 3 years, but there are also startup companies that are startup companies for 10 years. That's how I felt. I felt like I was a startup company for 10 years. I loved it. It was great. There wasn't any crazy growth that was going on. It definitely got stagnant for a good while. But there are companies out there where if you're not consistently growing, you're going to stay in that startup phase. And you're going to basically have a job.
And you're lucky in your industry, though, because that's something where not a lot of people do it. Nobody does it. Imagine we stayed stagnant in our industry. Because just like I said, that we're trying to eat at market share all day long, there's also other up-and-coming brokerages that are doing the same exact thing. So in most businesses, like you always have to work on growing no matter what. Like you can never like just be cool with making 8 figures a year, because eventually that's going to then turn into 7 figures and 6 figures and 5 figures, and boom, you're out of business. So it's always like, as a startup company, it's like, as much as it sucks, you like always have to just keep thinking about growth and just keep getting better. And that's something that I do as the founder and as the CEO, is that like I'm always constantly trying to improve myself, because I hire a different way. Obviously, I hire people who don't know what they're doing in the finance realm. They've never done it before. So the only way that I could level them up is if I level myself up constantly every single day. So I'm always constantly like reading books, attending webinars. I go to seminars. I watch a lot of YouTube videos. So I'm always working on self-development and just getting myself better, looking at people who have done this before, or just millionaires, billionaires, politicians, people who have influence. And then I'm able to trickle that down onto my employees and catch them up. And I like to say that, if you want to attract A+ talent, which I'm not looking to do, I'm looking to make A+ talent, I need to be an A+++++++.
And that's one thing I've always like commended you about through this process, is that you are teachable. Like you can't be hard-headed like when you're in the startup phase, because like it's only going to hurt you.
No.
You're definitely down there. You're ready to go.
That's
You
true.
want to learn. And it's respectful.
You can't
'cause
just
not
take
everyone is.
everyone's advice either.
Yeah.
Basically, what you do as a startup founder is like you talk to a lot of people who have done this, right? And then you have to formulate like your own little hypothesis on on how this is supposed to go. Because it's like, all right, like Johnny's like business is okay, and Steve's like doing good, but he went to jail once, and Harry like has been stagnant for years, and John just had 3 employees quit. So it's like, yes, you're taking all this information, and I am very coachable, and that is one of my stronger suits as a business owner, is that I don't always think that I'm right, and I learn from not even just like famous people or famous entrepreneurs, but even my employees, you guys, because there's stuff to learn from everybody, from employee 1 to 52.
Yeah.
So yeah.
The other thing too, other than being teachable, is like being moldable. Like, don't be afraid to be the person you need to be for the job. And I know you can be a strong advocate for that.
Yeah.
Like don't be afraid to be a dick if you got to be a dick. Don't be afraid to take the risk if you got to take the risk. Like you need to be a certain person to be either the startup owner or even like be high up in the startup. Like you need to be a certain person, and don't be afraid to be that person, because it won't work out if you're not.
Sure. You got to mold yourself into. I molded myself into being an 8-figure CEO.
Yep.
Now, what I'm currently working on is figuring out how to be a 9-figure CEO. Constantly, every single day, and there's a lot of strategy that goes into it. It's a psychology game. It's not something that's easy. It's not just like the X's and O's in football. So it's just constantly like just learning from people who have done it before, like I said, and just creating my own way that I think that I should go about it in my industry. Because what's been tough about our industry a little bit is that there's not a lot of people to talk to about it. There's not a lot of content out about it. So I'm kind of like learning from like different entrepreneurs who are in different industries that have done 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 figures. And then I'm trying to implement that into our business, into our industry. So it's not like the easiest thing in the world, but I think just learning from all these different people is like really what's like elevated my game. Because I mean, the entrepreneur I was 3 years ago is not the entrepreneur that I was today. No. If I was to have to do this all over again and start over, I could turn what we were now in like 6 to 8 months. Easily.
100%.
Oh yeah.
6 to 8 months, easily.
The craziest thing really is just all the different variables, because not only are you changing, not only is your company changing, not only is the industry changing, but the times are changing.
Yeah.
So there's just so many moving parts that you have to just be scanning and, like you said, just picking up sauce from different areas and learning how to get on a certain, like a trend that's going in the outside world, some pop culture thing that can excel up your marketing, or a better way to sell your product, or even a better product that comes out you have to get on top of really quick. So there's just so many variables that you always have to have one ear open and your eyes scanning at all times.
It's true.
Primary changes, we got to know that morning of. Our pitch changes. Primary changes.
Oh yeah, 100%. Being adaptable. As you said, all the variables. Being adaptable is huge as a startup, company. Like, can you adapt to the times? If you can't, you're gonna get lost in the past. Yeah. So I mean, even it's controversial, but like starting, the businesses when you're younger is good, because you are more adaptable in your 20s. You have a lot more to lose when you're 35. And you have a great job, or a great job, whatever kind of job you have, and you're like, I'm gonna start this. Like, okay. Are you adaptable? Like you've been set in your ways for 10 years. Like, can you do this? Like, not deterring people from following their dreams, but definitely like there's risk factors, and doing this in your 20s is definitely less risky.
You got to obviously be willing to take risks too. Like what I say nowadays is that like back in the day, like I risked it all, and I was willing to risk it all every single day up until like year like 2, right? But now modern day, I have 50 employees that have families, that have children, that they feed them with the money that I pay them, right? So I can't bet the company on one thing ever, right? Will I bet 50% of it? Yeah, I would do
That's
that.
my CEO.
I would do that any day of the week if I saw an opportunity arise.
I'd be rooting for you in the
I
back.
appreciate
same
that.
here.
I appreciate that. And to be honest with you, we're kind of out to go do that with the new program we're about to set up. Just to be honest and transparent with you guys. But it's not something that would ever put us out of business at this point in time. But back then, in the startup phase, you don't really care, right? It's just kind of just like, all right, like if I got to start over, like I just did it a year ago, so it's like I'll just go and do it again. So your risk tolerance has to be like really high. You got to also like the art of not giving a flying, if you want to bleep that word out. It's just like so many bad things are going to happen to you. So many existential things that like you didn't wake up that day and you thought that was going to happen to you. Nope. And like it's just as simple as like you just like, damn. And you just think of a way to get over it. It's as simple as that. Like if you let it harp on you the whole day like that, it just drags. It's like once you see a problem, it does not help. It does not help at all. You just need to address it. You need to crush it, jump over that hump, and then it's like Hormozy said something that I watched in a video the other day. It's like the problems that you had 5 years ago, you look back at them and you're like, they're not even problems. Like if I had to deal with that again, like that's easy because you've never really done that before. It's the ignorance effect. That's the same thing with me. So it's like the problems that we would have year one or year two, it's like, dude, like it's so laughable now.
Easy.
It's so like the DNC stuff is like a great example. Like I remember the first time I called Grizzly, I'm like, the company's ruined, man. It's over. We're cooked. We're done. It's like, dude, now we know how to deal with those assholes just like that,
Easy.
bro.
Done.
There's a science to it, So and now the issues that we're dealing with now, I'm freaking the out for like a hot second, and then I'm like, all right, well, we're gonna have to just fix it, like there's nothing else we could do. And I know that when I look back at this, 2 years from now, a year from now, I'm gonna be like, dude, like I can't believe we even like freaked out about that. Now we know how to deal with it. But that's the ignorance effect to owning a business. And it goes to show a little bit with what you were saying earlier. A lot of people know their trade. A lot of people understand construction. A lot of people understand finance, but you don't understand how to run a business. No. I would say that I'm better at running a business than I am even knowing finance. And I think that's why Lexington's been able to grow so much. You don't even have to know your industry so much, but just know and understand how to run a company, how to deal with people, understand finances, understand marketing, understand sales. If you can master all that and get really good at it and just keep doubling down on it and reinvesting in your company, understanding a balance sheet, understanding where all the money's coming in, how much is coming out, what you need to double down on, what you need to just get the out. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We just got to put a little time into it. That's all it is.
A lot of time.
A lot of time.
A lot of time.
Yeah, I was
Yeah, a lot of
definitely that. My bad.
A lot of time. Definitely.
That's the thing you always say all the time that I love, and I think I say it quite often. If you just give it all your time, give it your all, and make it your main focus, and you really try your absolute hardest, it literally can't not work. It has to work. Yeah. It's impossible for it to not work. And I love that. Because here we are. We're sitting in it.
Yeah. Yeah, we're real life. I mean, I've never seen someone genuinely give something their all and it just never worked out. It's always people who are like, oh, I tried my best. It's like, dude, you didn't try your best. We all know you didn't try your best, like you didn't try your best. But like, I've genuinely tried my best. I know that every single night where I go to sleep, I tried my best. And that's why we've been able to succeed. And my other businesses, like I can't say that. I can't say that I genuinely tried my best every single day that I went into the job, and now I can say that, and it's worked out.
Yeah, look at the difference.
Yeah, the difference is there. I mean, I speak to multiple people a day. I'm training every day. I'm learning every single day. I'm bettering myself every day. I'm training my employees. I'm thinking of new products to implement. I'm thinking of new marketing strategies. I'm just always constantly I'm a sponge. I'm absorbing so many different things. Talking to a lot of people is really huge, honestly. Like that's you should take like an hour out of your day to just call people at night, just see who picks up, and just like have a conversation. You'd be surprised what one conversation could do for your business.
And you'd be surprised who picks up too. Like people.
You'd be very surprised. People are very willing to talk to you. I didn't think that people would be willing to talk to me on the weekends or late at night, but they're willing to give you their time, and that's why like whenever like a young kid hits me up nowadays to ask about the startup phase and about our industry and our company, I give them the time of day because people were willing to do that for me, and it's what helped us get here.
And what really helps them do that too is the fact that you are who you are. You're coachable. You're learnable. You're not going to sit there and combat them when you called them for a question.
No, I absorb all of it, and I'm either like, all right, 95% of that shit that guy said was stupid, but 5% I got out of it. This could grow us. This could really work, and then we go and implement it right away.
And maintain a relationship. Sorry.
No, you're fine. I like when you said that you'll sit there for 3 hours at the end of the night. It's 3 a.m, eyes cracked, and you're watching like your 20th YouTube video, and that one phrase that somebody said, that one idea that put in your brain made all that time that you thought was a waste worth it.
Yeah, it's true, and that's why nothing's a waste, and that's why you do give stuff your all, because it's like it's those blessing bags that just come to you when you just give stuff your all. It's like, damn, this whole hour-long video is a waste of my time, quote unquote, even though nothing's a waste of your time. It's like, boom, like Tom said, that last 2 minutes, I got all the sauce I humanly possibly needed. And that's just what implemented a new marketing strategy, and we just 10x'd off that.
Yeah.
It's all about learning game.
10x.
It's all
Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone style. Yeah, it's about absorbing information, really. And the more information you could get, and that's why people pay for mentorships and stuff like that in modern day. I think that's the next step I need to take as a CEO, is I need to go and sit with, because I've spoken with people now who have hit 8 or 9 figures. I need to go speak with people who are running like publicly traded companies, like Fortune 500 companies. I need to pay to play. And I need to speak with people like that. Bet David, I watched someone on him recently, and he was stuck in the 10 million stage, like the eight-figure mark, like we are. Not that we're stuck in it, we just hit it for a few years. And he's like telling his COO, he's like, dude, he's like, Tom, I don't think I'm a good CEO. Clearly I'm not. Like, I can't get us out of this rut. I don't know what to do. And then he went to some event, spoke to some guy that owned like a huge company, I forget the company, and that catapulted his business. It gave him a whole new outlook on things.
Yeah, I think those events are really important. A good friend of mine's mother attends a lot of those events where it's $50,000 to attend one of these events, and the conversations that you have with those type of people are not your average conversations. They're mounds above the conversations that we even have here on our podcasts. And that I think you're absolutely right. That's where a lot of worth is going to come in and grow you into that 9-10 figure CEO that you're going to be. Oh, shoot, I had something else in there.
I want to tack off onto that. I don't know. Do you mind?
No.
So I don't know if you guys seen like the picture like on Instagram sometimes where it's like, would you rather $1 million or a conversation with Jay-Z?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, $1 million right now is cool, but like that conversation with someone who is a billionaire, you might not have the $1 million. You might not have. No, what?
It's just the Jay-Z thing.
That's just what it is.
I know.
It's just funny.
I know.
It's just funny.
I know.
At least you guys have seen it.
I'm laughing at Jay-Z.
That's what got me.
Keep going.
But yeah, like that conversation, like, yeah, $1 million right now is freaking cool, but what are you going to do with it?
Yeah.
Like you don't know how to manage $1 million. So you have that conversation with the guy who knows how to manage $1 billion. Yeah. And, now that $1 million, like you'll get there, like, not that you'll get there like that, but, like you'll at least like, you'll have an idea of what's going on because you spoke to someone who went through the whole process.
It's true.
Like don't be afraid to, you keep saying, like, don't be afraid to spend the money to go talk to people, or don't be afraid to have the option of $1 million or Jay-Z.
Yeah. Yeah, and $1 million isn't that much money.
No, not at all.
The reason why people think $1 million is a lot of money is because other people have told them it's a lot of money.
It's a trickle-down effect, yeah.
It's really not whatsoever. Like, money is like so attainable and achievable. There's trillions of dollars just scrummaging around, inside of the world. So it's very cheap.
And you think
But
about
Frankie,
it too.
I have a friend that's making $100,000, and everybody's so proud of him.
Yeah, I'm sure that his mommy and daddy is, because they're making 80.
That too, with like the $1 million, like not a lot. Like, if you think about time, like obviously like flat, like, 10 years isn't a lot. You have a job that makes you $100K plus, like you're making $1 million in 10 years, but like, do you have that $1 million? No, there's expenses, there's whatever, but like you made the $1 million, see how much it's not, like, yeah, you had a lot of fun. You can count for your whole life, but again, it's really not that much, like, I don't know.
Can't retire off $1 million.
I was gonna say, it's cool when you get to like this kind of, at least in our industry anyway, this point in the startup phase, like you said, money, like $1 million not a lot. Like, money doesn't even, like, it doesn't seem the same anymore. It's not even like real anymore. It's such a crazy difference in mindset when it comes to working with money and exchanging money all throughout your day. It's like, you're right. Like, I thought that $100 was a lot when I was younger, and now $1 million is kind of just like, okay, like, that's amazing. All right, so what do you do now? I think it's insane, and that was stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now we pay $100 just to skip the line at the bar.
Oh my god,
It's true. That we do.
One thing too that I heard when like you're in the startup phase as well is like learn how to sell your time before you learn how to sell the product. And it could be applicable to some things, but sometimes it's not. But if you want to get into a sales-based business, learn how to sell your time first, because that's what's going to propel you into learning how to sell the product better. You start off with something like as simple as a detail shop. You buy $100 worth of product, you get your couple guys, you're going out there and you're like, okay, I'm just starting out, so I'll charge $30 a car. Cool. You learn how to wash your first couple cars. All right, I'm getting better at this. Now it's $50 a car. Okay. So like now right now that you're worth $50 an hour. And then when it comes down to like the products, like, oh, I've been doing this detailing for a while. Like, I really know how these soaps work. Let me put out my own soap. Like now you're going to think like, okay, if I put out my own soap, I can sell it for $30 a gallon, you know, and I think that's like a market price still, if I remember correctly, like $30 a gallon for the soap. And, you know, like now you're going to know, okay, if I want to make $50 an hour, I have to sell 1.5 of these gallons of soap. But I want to make $50 an hour. I want to make more. So, you know, then you start gauging, like, okay, if I can sell 10 things of these soaps in an hour, now I'm making $300, you know? So, like, that's where, like, you kind of learn to take your time and put it into the product because, again, you could be out there washing the cars making the $50 an hour, or you can learn how to sell 10 things of soap and make $300 in that hour because, you know, you have the product knowledge and you learn how to sell your time first.
I was wondering where you were going with that for a second. I like how you wrapped that up. Knowing how to sell your time before you sell your product. That's definitely huge for any type of service-based industry. And eventually, when you get that experience, like now, I see stuff all the time. Yeah, guy came over to fix my boiler. He took out his hammer, tapped it here twice, left, and sent me a bill for $3,000.
Yep. Yeah, I've
like,
seen that.
You paid for the 2 taps, the 30 seconds that it took me, and the 20 years of experience
Exactly.
that it took me to get there.
Yeah, that guy learned how to sell his time to where he knows I could go to that job with these 2 tools and I can make that $3,000. Because you go to someone else who just started their business, it's going to take them 3 days, more parts, and they're going to, you know. So it's like, what do you want to pay? The time, or do you want to pay the money?
Time is money.
Time is money. You know, and it's huge in the startup phase. You know, like it's all about, you know, crunching that last penny and figuring out what you could do. You know, so if you know how to sell your time, then you more accurately know how to sell your pennies.
You want to run like a lean, mean, profitable little machine. I remember when I had my detail shop, I'm a spender. I know it. I am. I'm a spender, and I was telling my partner, we got to make sure we get this and we got to get that, and I want to get the top of the line this and the best soap and this, and well, it wasn't the best idea. I ended up selling my half shortly after for different reasons, but that was a good learning lesson for me that you want to run lean and mean. And I tell our clients that all the time. You want to run your company as lean as possible until you get to the point where you need to spend the money to get that extra step farther.
100%.
Every dollar matters, and that's why people who like understand and know how to manage money are really great business owners, and they're good during the startup phase because you got to really know like where you should be putting the money. Like, and for instance, when we would find a new marketing scheme, if that shit wasn't working for like a day when we first started, it's like it got thrown out. Now we're lucky enough where we have the budget where it's like we could let it go for like 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks and see if it starts ROIing us. And then like if not by like the 6th week, it's like, all right, like this is garbage. This is getting thrown out. So knowing how to allocate your resources is something that's really important. That's why understanding your product and understanding your industry is really huge. For instance, at first with us, I didn't have to spend money on the product, right? We sold money. So the only thing that I had to really spend money on was our leads. So our sales team was our marketing team because they were telemarketing, they were cold calling. So really my job was to figure out who was the best lead source for the best bang for the buck where the leads were hidden, right? So then I figured that out, I mastered that out, we were ROIing off that, and then we built out a little bit more of a budget, and then we went to different lead sources and so on and so forth. But if I wanted to go with, say, for instance, like our second lead source was live transfers. Live transfers, they didn't work out for us. Right. I wouldn't suggest to get them. But if I would have started getting us live transfers and spending $40, $50, $60 on a lead at first, we would have went out of business like that.
Oh, yeah.
Instead, I was spending, a few cents to $1 max on a lead, and that's what was allowing us to stay in business,
And at least in our industry, you didn't really need too much. Like when we first started, it was the one computer with the one monitor on the multiple different desks.
Yeah.
And now, we all have 3 monitors and very expensive computers. So like we didn't need that type of technology at first just to get the engine moving. Sure. But once the engine started moving, we had to equip it with, new tires and good oil. You know what I mean?
Well, at this point, we want to grow and scale. So like my guys could click less times and they can input a lead in 1 second than in 2 seconds just because I buy a $2,000 computer. Like at this point in the company's history, it's worth it. It's crazy that sounds.
You need 8-figure equipment.
Exactly.
Like we were running on 5, 6, 7-figure equipment, and like you want to make the jump, you need the new stuff. Yeah. It's staying with the times, it's being adaptable, as we said. Yeah. You want to keep moving forward, you got to adapt, you got to invest the money and hope it works. Be risk adverse. Yeah.
You want to start building your brand too from a young age inside of your business because that's what's going to supersede you for the rest of your business's life. Like for instance, like Apple's brand at this point just sells all their products. Like you don't see them have commercials or ads or anything like that like other companies like us because they don't need to because their customers are their marketers. They sell their products for them. Oh, yeah. The second they drop something, everyone knows about it. Everyone's telling everyone about it. So building your brand from the jump is something that's huge. It's not something that like even for us year 3, like we still do cold outreach. We still go in and acquire customers. We still run paid advertisements to bring clients to us. Like I'd probably only say like 30 to maybe max 40% of our business is actually physically coming to us at this point in time, and we're 3 years into this. Now, in a service-based company, a little bit different. It's a lot easier to get your word of mouth out there if you own a construction company. On top of it, it's a lot harder to scale a construction company. So by year 3, you might only have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 employees. How many jobs can you physically take on with 3, 4, 5 employees? Not as many as when I have 50 people banging the phones and I could get thousands of leads pouring in on a daily basis. But yeah, building your brand on the long term is huge. Just putting out content, being on every single social network is just huge. Putting out YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Instagram Reels, all of it.
Yeah, I can't believe we didn't even touch on that. I mean, social media itself is just, it's basically free advertisement. I mean, it takes time to make it, but at the end of the day, you don't have to pay anything to be on it. Yeah. And you could just get in front of millions of people if something, you hit a trend right, and now millions of people know your name, know your brand, know your product. It's a weapon that should never go unlooked for any company, not even just a startup.
Yeah, we're not in the petty saver anymore. We're in TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn.
That's true.
And it's huge too, because like again, building the brand builds the name. Like you think phones, my first thought's Apple. I think tires, Mike's Tires. Because that guy built his brand. Like it's just like the little things. Like I had another commercial in my head. I know you guys would have chimed in. Can't think of it right now. But like the branding, it's just so huge because it builds who you are, builds your culture, it builds the company you want to be. Like having your vision and your branding, it's what's going to propel you. It's what's going to want to make people work for you.
And it definitely makes you infinitely more credible, too, if you have that online presence. You're showing your face. You're talking about your company. You're talking about your product, who you are and what you believe in and what you're about. Yeah. It's going to make your clientele infinitely more accepting of doing business with you, and it's going to drive more business to you. The more people you get, the more people that they refer, and then all of a sudden it's a snowball effect of just clientele coming in the door.
Yeah. 100%. And two, in the beginning, like the golden rule is the customer's always right, and like especially in the startup phase, customer's always right. You cannot afford to make any bad blood. You cannot afford to not correct your. You get over there, buddy.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely, Mr. Customer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir, Mr. Customer.
But yeah, the startup phase, it really is huge. You can't afford to make the bad blood. You're 3 months into your business and you screwed a customer over. They make one bad review and no one's going to you anymore. You piss off your local mom's Facebook group and they're not, you could ruin a small business by doing that kind of stuff. Like make sure you're always doing right by the customer. Build your foundation. This isn't saying when you grow up like into a bigger company you start screwing over customers, but like it's a good way to build your foundation of a reliable company that people want to go to. These guys do right by me, I will refer my brother, my mom, my dad, everyone over to you.
It's true. What's just annoying about that as being a small business owner is like we make so much less money, and like Apple could screw you over and like they won't like do anything for you. Yeah. And it's like if we like just like screw up your order, it's like you guys go and tell the whole world. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's like you're not like telling the whole world that Apple has screwed you over. Bashing Apple. So like definitely take it easy on small business owners. Yeah. Obviously, if the guy's not a good guy, like do what you got to do. Yeah. But they're trying to do their best, staying in business. The economy's tough right now. They're fighting and clawing every single day of their life. Mm-hmm. There's thousands of businesses going out of business every single day. Small businesses. Mm-hmm. All these big guys, they're never going to go out. They have the capital. They have the cash flow. They have the investors. Yeah. We don't.
No. Leave bad reviews for big companies.
It's true. It's
support local business.
Even if you had a bad experience, try not to leave a review.
Oh man, no, startup phase is so cool, man. I remember I feel like when we first walked into this office, that's when it didn't feel like the startup anymore. It kind of did in the beginning, but we got the sign up, we have this big gong, there's so many different areas, departments, but when, you talk about being the visionaries and the employees there, it's moving from office one to here, it's we are not a small business, or we are not a startup anymore, dude. Sure. This is a real deal office, and it kind of changes tempo, it was really freaking cool, just again, the whole startup working there, being part of it from the jump, it's rewarding, you walk into this and it's wow, this is Lexington.
It's true. When I think a startup is done being a startup, when the owner doesn't have to be there and the company could still run. And we are at that point. Yeah. If I died, we could still run.
Well, not happily.
No, we wouldn't grow as fast as we could. We wouldn't be as efficient as we could, but we would still run. We would stay in business. We have gotten to the point where my employees are skilled enough, my managers are skilled enough to run this company. Mm-hmm. And that's a very rewarding feeling, because that's really the toughest thing, is getting everybody to be able to adapt and be as good as you. Because although you do think that you could do everything better than everyone else, there is obviously other people who can do it better than you. And I'm so far removed from a lot of different things at the company right now that there are people in those positions that are doing it better than me. Nicoletta is a way better underwriter than I am currently at this point in time. You know, Corey, Chow, and Matt, honestly, I'd still close deals more than you guys. But, you know, you guys are in the trenches. Maybe you had me day 1 or 2, you know. But day 3, I'm coming for you.
The enclosio.
But no, yeah, seriously, like, it's rewarding, you know, seeing your management being able to do what you want to do. And that's why you need to, once you're laying the foundations of your startups and you're hiring employees, you want to delegate the task as quick and as humanly possible. And although that you are going to take a step back in revenue for a little bit, you just got to eat it. You got to live with it, because it's basically like the catapult slingshot example, where like you're just holding back and holding back and holding back. Just the farther that you could go back is the farther that rock's going to be able to go forward. Side story. This kid's sister was getting kidnapped in his front yard. He had a slingshot. He hit the guy in the back of the head with the slingshot. The guy was knocked out. Saved his sister, grabbed her, brought her inside the house, called the cops. Guy had to go to the hospital. Wow. Yeah. And like, he plays with slingshots all the time. Like, his mom used to yell at him and stuff like that. And she said, thank the Lord Jesus Christ, he was playing with those slingshots, because he wouldn't have been that skilled to do that. Look up this story. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's
once
crazy.
this is done, go right to
Kids
the
been
story.
waiting for that moment.
Dude, it's crazy. Yeah.
That's, you see those like things like, I've been waiting for
Yeah,
this moment
apparently,
my
like
whole life.
he's like blowing out like windows at the house and stuff. Like, the mom hated the slingshots, but like it ended up working out really well.
And then she like took him away that day too.
Yeah.
Totally different story.
Yeah.
Like, this dad kid, that's awesome.
But I
Yeah,
mean,
Kelly Veg story,
bouncing
yeah.
off the slingshot, because you use that in a lot of different ways. Delaying gratification
Yes.
is something that's so unbelievably necessary for a startup. You know,
Yes.
even though you're making money and you're doing good, don't go and spend that money on materialistic items. Save it, put it back into the business,
Sure.
put it into your people, and then the profits will just keep coming back tenfold.
Yeah, people over profits, and the profits will roll in. Like, for instance, like, we could have a beautiful company car. We could be in a lot nicer of an office. We could bowl out a lot more than what we do currently right now. But I know if I keep reinvesting back in the company, it's going to just keep coming and coming and coming and coming and coming. So yeah, you gotta constantly just keep reinvesting, throw the money in. You know, you shouldn't really take a salary for a really long time. You shouldn't put any money in your pocket. You should just try to live off the basics. Eat at Costco, buy food. You know, rent and live with somebody else. You know, like, do whatever you got to do to keep your expenses as the business owner as small as humanly possible. And you just need to feed the business. You can't feed yourself.
That was one mistake I made when I started up my insurance brokerage. I was just such a fan of Essentia Water. I like had that stuff like being delivered weekly. I was like going out for like lunch, doing my thing. I'm like, bro, like I sell products. Like I'll make the money back. And like you wind up, you know, like not learning how to pace yourself. You know, so like that's, as you said, it's huge.
Yeah. Even in the phase that we're in right now, like, we could be going out to dinners with partners more and spending money on this and shipping money out here. But like, I still feel like there's other ways to reinvest the money inside of the company that we need fed more. That's going to lead us to becoming 9 figures over doing like stupid shit with the company's money, like, moral of the story. And that's why being able to balance a budget, I think, is something that's huge, because a lot of guys, like, yeah, they like get construction and all of that, but it's just like they blow every single dollar they get. You know, I would never work for a business owner that cannot handle a budget. You know, that guy that just the second they get $1, he spends the dollar. It's like, dude, you can't trust that guy to run a company, man. You know, and what a lot of people don't understand is, like, a lot of business owners are in debt. You know, a lot of them leverage their personal lives through their business. They take out loans. They take out SBA loans. They go on family vacations with it. You know, they're feeding their personal life through their business, and that's something that you should never work for. They should always keep their business and their personal expenses completely separate. It's something that it's huge. It's huge.
Yeah, unless you're like a one-man show, like, you should not be, you know, using your business as your wallet.
Sure.
Which is rough, because a lot of the times in startups, especially in the very beginning, it's the opposite. You know, you're maximizing all your personal assets and throwing it into your business and just putting your life on the line to make sure that thing can operate every day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why a lot of business owners have bad credit.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're taking out every credit card, every loan that they could possibly get, over leveraging the crap out of their credit. And it's like, shit, I got a 500. But I got a business.
Yeah.
And as a business owner, I love my business more than I love my credit. Could care less about credit. You know, I'm in this thing for the long haul. Like, Pat Bet David didn't buy a house till he was 37. You know what I mean? Could you imagine that? Wow. You know, I don't care when I get a house, dude. Like, I want Lexington to succeed. Don't care.
Then you could have all the houses.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, yeah.
You could buy a lot of houses.
The Lex Village is going to be sick.
Lex Park. Lex Park.
Where we parking?
Well, I don't know, whatever town you guys want to go to.
We'll make our own like Fairfield Lexfield.
I would love that. Yeah, I think we definitely should buy some land, build on the land, all live together, all grow our kids up together.
Have a little school.
Yeah, have a
Think
little
we can make it? Think we will make it happen?
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, as long as you guys want to, you know,
Yeah,
like, that's
that'd be
like
sick.
ultimately what it comes down.
See,
to.
this is what I'm talking
We're
about.
gonna have the money to do it.
These are the types of visions that we had when we had no money, and that's why we are where we are.
It's true.
It's because we were talking about things like this, like when we're going to hit multi-million dollars a month, when we're going to fund we had 5 deal Friday and we didn't even hit him 99% of the time. But when we did, we lost our mind. But we kept telling him we're going to do it.
Yeah.
And then 5 deal Friday turned into 25 deal Friday really quickly, just because we always push the envelope. Every time we hit a goal, cool, let's double down on it. That's the next goal. And you just keep pushing and pushing. And if you, like you said, you set an unrealistic goal, you fall short, that's still higher than the goal you had previously.
Sure.
And then that's how you continue to grow, is just keep pushing your mind and speaking it out loud.
True.
It's funny too. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I was gonna say, with the conversations now to then, like, it's funny how much more tangible those goals are now compared to then. You know, like the goal of, we're gonna be on the, the 500, we're gonna be a stock. Like that's way more tangible now than
no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, because we understand how to run a business. Like Brad Lee told me, like I understand how to run a business. I understand marketing. I understand finance. I understand legal. I get sales. I know all of it. I'm pretty much a guru inside of all of it. Like the only way to really get us to 9 figures is to, besides offering a new product, is by just 10 timesing what the fuck we're doing now. Get 10 times the amount of employees, 10 times the amount of lead, 10 times the amount of marketing, and we're there. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah.
One thing that I want to talk about is negotiation skills, though. As the founder, is really important. So yeah, negotiation is really huge in business, and most people don't understand how to negotiate. A lot of people are actually really bad at it, and you always have to be in the position of power when you're negotiating. Like every single thing from like the first leads that we bought to like our contract with Salesforce to our dialing system to our computers to our headsets. Like I have bargained for that shit, and I still currently bargain for it every single day of my life. And people will hit me at, I've gotten us like 75-80% reduction in prices. Like seriously, like people will be like, it's $100. I'm like, no, it's $10. It's $10. Like for instance, like we've been buying trophies for the Christmas party for the past 2 years. So one of our employees was on the phone with this guy, and like he was asking for a discount. He's like, can we get a discount? And I was like, no. I was like, that when he got off the phone, I was like, that's not how you do it. I said, what you have to say is, we've ordered from you guys 2 years in a row. What's our discount? Like you're assuming that you're getting the discount. Like why would you not get a discount? We ordered 2 years in a row, and then be like 50%, right? Just see what the guy says, and you shoot it really low. It's like shooting your goals really high, and if you fall a little low, you're cool with it. It's the same exact thing. You got to shoot the guy really freaking low, be in a position of power, don't seem desperate, don't be needy, and you'll win it every single time. And then you hang up on them too. That's what I do all the time. I'm just like, nah, I'll pay $10, goodbye. Click, and then they call me back, or they email me, or they text me, and they talk to their boss, like, oh, look what I was able to do for you. I'm like, nah, you could do better. Click, and then finally, like 12 phone calls later, we get the price that I wanted. So, but negotiation is really huge inside of business, and you need to be very cheap when it comes to your money. You can't be cheap when it comes to your people, but you got to be cheap when it comes to all the other things inside of your business, and you need to get the best bang for your buck. Just because someone tells you that this is the price, it's not the price. It's not the price. They're trying to bang you over the head.
Yeah.
They're trying to bang you over that.
In the beginning, like I wasn't like I learned negotiating from you, and in the beginning it's funny because like I was never that good at it, and like I would always, they'd be like, all right, you ready to talk price? I'd be like, nope, I'm getting the hammer. They're like, what? I was like, yep, give me 2 minutes. Like, what is it? No.
Yeah. Like, what's the price?
Like, sorry, you heard the man. He said no.
I'm like, this thing doesn't even look that cool. Like, this thing sucks. Like, your system sucks. You want to pay $500 a month? It sucks. This thing's worth $10. Click. Bro, I swear to God,
bro,
this is what I do.
Literally
Bro.
would be that.
I am the worst person to deal with, dude. I mean, even at our Christmas party, I'm going as cheap as humanly possible. So we're gonna have a great Christmas party. We're gonna have a lot of stuff, but like, I'm making sure that we get the best price on every single stuff that we get, because every dollar matters.
Don't plan my wedding.
Bro, I got you.
I should have had him on the phone with my
I got you.
dude.
Yeah, no, I will get you guys the best pricing. Because you got to think about it. Like, they're not the only person who does it.
Yeah.
They're not the only. It's just like us. We drop points all the time. It's just like I could go to Johnny down the block. Like, I literally just had a conversation with the guy. Like, he was hitting me at 200, hit me at 500. Like, I'll give you 100 at this point. Like, I was like, your system sucks compared to his. Like, yours should be 100. And then they're like, all right, I spoke to my boss. It's like $150. Like, no, bro, it's 100. Click. All right, Frank. I was able to get 100. All right, I'll pay 50. I'll pay 50. Click. All right, we're able to get you 50, but you got to sign on 50. All right, John.
All right.
All right. You beat me, John. You beat me.
You got me. You twisted my arm.
You won.
I'm not going to say what company it was, but we just did that recently. You're like, tell them this and we signed today. Yeah. that thing was in our inbox within 2 hours.
That's a powerful word. I'll sign today. I love that shit.
Bro, I hate when they say that. I'll sign today. I'll get me down to this. We get them to that. They don't sign. Like, what the dude?
I'm a man of my word with that shit. Like, I'm like, yo, you get me at this because I do my research. I see the market prices. Like, I talk to a lot of people who do it. Even if it's a company that I don't want to go with, like I know from like reviews reviews or whatever, or people telling me that they're bad, like I still will figure out what their pricing is and like what their product is like, so I can go to that other company. And even if I didn't talk to them, I'll be like, listen, I spoke to this person, they hit me at this, they do this, you guys don't do this. Like, you guys gotta be cheaper, man. You know, so definitely product research is huge.
Oh yeah.
100%.
I think that's a good way to end the
Yeah,
episode.
that's a
great. Yeah, you guys gotta hop in on one of those meetings one of these days.
You just see me like this.
Grizzly is so uncomfortable.
I'm the relationship
Yeah.
guy.
I've seen it live
He
quite a
hates
few
being the bad
times.
guy, and I'm just like, dude, like I don't give a fuck, bro. I'm gonna do what's best for the company. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
no.
Like, if I'm the bad guy for getting us the cheapest price, like, dude, so be it.
You
bro.
need
Like,
bad guys
yeah,
like you.
Yeah, like, dude, yeah. So freaking be it, man.
You need a
Scarface.
hammer, man.
Yeah.
That's what yin and yang.
It's
You
true.
need
I'll be the
hammer.
guy that goes up to the grocery store telling me like, all right, this is 50% off, right? These oranges. Like, man, I just work here. Like, nah, bro. Like, get your manager. It's 50% off.
It's buying 10 dozen oranges. I better get
Yeah,
50.
look at this thing in the orange.
Frankie's over there
Are you
ripping
telling me
oranges.
that the male equivalent to a Karen is a Frankie?
When I'm negotiating price, you better believe it.
Hell
I'll
yeah.
do anything for this company. It's like my kid. Like how you
Yeah.
fight for your kid, you do anything. Like I will fight to make sure that we get the best bang for our buck, the cheapest price possible. I will do whatever I have to do, and I will do right by my company.
Hell yeah.
And in essence, it's doing right by you guys.
Yeah.
Because if I have more money to spend, I could spend it on more leads. I could spend it on more salaries. I could spend it on more marketing. And then that puts more money in everybody's pocket.
Hell yeah.
That's the way that I think.
And that's the mindset of an owner of a great startup company.
Good way to end it.
Yeah, it was
Good way
beautiful.
to end it.
I
yeah.
loved it.
What are they smashing, Grizz?
Oh, audience, we're gonna click that.
this
Hit that. Watch this video. Watch that video. Subscribe here. Ring that bell. Do this. Do that.